NBA records. Some of our favorite things to look forward to in every NBA season. For the most part, there have been records throughout NBA history that will probably never be broken. Things like John Stockton's all-time assist record, or Rasheed Wallace's 41 technical fouls in a single season, Bill Russell's 11 championships, or Wilt's 100-point game, Wilt's 48.5 minutes per game, or Wilt's 50.4 points per game. Or, yeah, anything about Wilt. However, there are many other NBA records that have been held for a long time, but it's quite possible that some of them might be broken this year in the 2019-20 season. In this video, I will talk about 6 different records and which player or players have a realistic chance to break them. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and let's get started. Number 6, rebound percentage, Andre Drummond. In this stat, I'm not talking about total number of rebounds, as Wilt obviously still has the record. This is for rebound percentage, which is the percentage of rebounds that a player gets on the floor, out of all possible rebound opportunities. Drummond right now has a ridiculous rebound percentage. In fact, out of all qualified players in NBA history, he's on pace to finish the season with the highest rebound percentage we've ever seen. When I say qualified players, I'm going by the NBA's definition of qualified. That means the player has to play at least 70% of the team's regular season games, which is 58 games. Technically, Dennis Rodman in 1995 recorded a rebound rate of 29.7%, but he only played 49 games that season, so he did not qualify. But now, Drummond is on pace to qualify, and he most certainly will. He already has a sizable lead over the current record holder, which is Reggie Evans, when he recorded 26.7% in the 2012-13 season. We're witnessing history here, and while Drummond has always been known as a fantastic rebounder, he's about to break the record. It's arguable that he could be considered the greatest rebounder of all time, just by looking at the advanced stats. Unfortunately, the Detroit Pistons have been stuck in no man's land for basically Drummond's entire career. So we don't get to see his ridiculous rebounding have as much of an impact compared to if he was on a contender. Number 5, the free throw record, James Harden. Now, there are 2 different records involved here. The first is the record for free throws made per game. Currently, the player who holds the record for most free throws made per game is Jerry West in the 1965-66 season, with an average of 10.6 free throws made per game. Some other players that came close were Wilt Chamberlain in 1962 and Michael Jordan in 1987. All of them averaged around 10 made free throws per game. However, here comes James Harden. Currently, Harden is obliterating that record. As of this video, he's averaging a whopping 12 free throws a game. That's freaking ridiculous, it's not even close. He's on pace to shatter that record. Additionally, the second part of the free throw record is most total free throws made in a single season. This obviously goes hand in hand with the average free throws made per game, but it's a different record because it also tests a player's durability. And Harden has been arguably the most durable superstar in the last few years. In an era where players and teams are super cautious about injuries and keeping their stars healthy, Harden just wants to go out there and play basketball. Can't really fault him for that. So currently, he's also on pace to shatter the total free throws made in a season. The current record is held by, again, Jerry West, with 840 free throws made in the 1965-66 season. By the way, we're only talking about the regular season here. If you go down the list, you'd see that Harden already pops up numerous times. He's had a few seasons before with over 700 free throws made, which is already really good. But now, in the 2019-20 season, let's say he finishes the season playing 75 games, which for Harden is on the lower end. But if he plays 75 games and keeps up the pace with 12 free throws made per game, he'd finish the season with 900 free throws made. That still breaks Jerry West's record by 60. Needless to say, Harden has been absolutely ridiculous when it comes to drawing fouls this season. However, a record that he will not be able to break will be the number of free throws attempted. That record still firmly belongs to Wilt, who averaged 17 free throw attempts per game in 1962. I don't think anybody can beat that. Number 4, three-pointers attempted, once again by James Harden. Another record that Harden himself recently broke last year in the 2018-19 season. In that season, he broke the record for most threes attempted in a single season, and most threes attempted per game. As of now, the list looks like this. Harden last year already broke this record, jumping ahead of Steph Curry. I remember everyone thought how crazy this was last year, especially with how much more he attempted. That's over 140 more threes ahead of second place, Steph Curry's 886. Of course, Harden's percentage pales in comparison to Curry's, but that's what makes this even more impressive. Despite being a career 36% three-point shooter, Harden continues to shoot them at an insane pace. Even when he's not hitting them, he continues to jack it up. I guess it is the main part of the Rockets' game plan, but still, the attempts are crazy. That brings us to the 2019-20 season, where Harden is attempting even more threes. He's now averaging a ridiculous 14 three-point attempts per game. And again, assuming he plays around 75 games, he's on pace to finish the season with 1,050 total three-point attempts. That would break the record again. In fact, he even has a slight chance to beat Steph Curry's total threes made record. Curry set this record back in 2016, where he hit 402 three-pointers. Not too long ago, everyone thought this record would be untouchable. Or at least we thought it could only be broken by Curry himself. But that's not the case anymore. Harden in 2018-19 made 378. And now in 2019-20, he's on pace to hit 380, which is still 20 short of the record. However, that's mainly because he's been shooting quite poorly. If by any chance Harden goes on a hot streak and brings up his percentage back to normal, he could very well pass Steph Curry. I could totally see him doing it. Number 3, the worst defensive rating in NBA history, Rui Hachimura. Out of all qualified players in the history of the NBA, Rui Hachimura is on pace to have the worst recorded individual defensive rating ever. With a historically awful defensive rating of about 123. That was worse than Jamal Crawford on the Phoenix Suns. That's how bad Hachimura has been on defense. For those of you who haven't seen my video about how good Hachimura could be, I talked about how his defense is his #1 weakness. And although he looks pretty good offensively, he still hurts his team so much. It's no secret that the Wizards have been god-awful on defense the entire season, so everyone has been struggling, not just Rui. Of course, he's just a rookie, so we gotta cut him some slack. And throughout the course of the season, his defense could improve a little bit. Number 2, turnovers, LeBron James. LeBron has been in the league for such a long time, and throughout the course of his career, he's always maintained a very high usage rate. Naturally, that also leads to some not-so-amazing stat totals, in particular, turnovers. He is currently ranked second in NBA history in total career turnovers. Recently, he passed John Stockton, and now he could quite possibly pass Karl Malone for first place by the end of the season. Now, unlike the previous stats I mentioned, this is not as likely. Currently, LeBron is averaging around 3, close to 4 turnovers a game, which is pretty much his usual numbers. If he maintains an average of, let's say, 4 turnovers a game for the rest of the season, he'll still be a bit short of Karl Malone's record. But it's pretty damn close. I think there's a slight chance LeBron could pass him by the end of the season. Maybe if the Lakers reach a cold streak and they have to start deferring to LeBron more as the season progresses, that could lead him to having more turnovers. It's certainly possible. And even if he doesn't pass Karl Malone this season, he definitely will next season. And number 1, player efficiency rating, or PER, Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo. The statistic that we all hate and we all love. For a long time, PER was the only advanced stat that people cared about, although that's obviously changed over the years as everyone started to understand the game better. While it's not as relevant as it once was, it's still very cool to see it get broken. Right now, the highest PER for a single season was by Wilt Chamberlain in the 1962-63 season. He's held that #1 spot for over 50 years. And now both Giannis and Luka have a chance to break that record. More so Giannis, as he has a pretty big lead right now. In fact, so many superstars this year have been so dominant that it's making people question if they're actually this dominant or are NBA defenses getting worse. For Luka, it's even more impressive because he's only 20 years old. I think this is a sign of bigger things to come. It's been a historic 2019-20 season from an offensive standpoint. We're currently seeing players shattering records that have been there for decades. By the end of the season, I think most of these records I talked about will be broken. Anyway, that's all folks. Let me know your thoughts about these records and which ones do you think will be broken by the end of the season? And are there any other records I missed? Let me know in the comments. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.